fifth day together. Okay, yeah, looks like yep, we're live. Hello. So today's day 5 of your herbal story. 5 days of tracking your plant path. And welcome back. Today is our final day of again your herbal story. 5 days of tracking your plant path and loving your plant journey. And I hope you've enjoyed these past few days. And so as far as I'm going to talk about the journal prompt, and then I'm going to stay on afterwards. And I'm over at my Herbal Kitchen private Facebook group. I'm at my YouTube channel, Cami McBride, and I'm also on Instagram. Instagram, I can't hardly see or reply to you, but after this is posted, if you leave a comment, I'm going to come in and I really love to hear what comes through for you. So yeah, but I'm going to be sticking around after I go through the journal prompt, and so I hope you've enjoyed this reflective pause. I know, I can fall in the trap of like, go, 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 just one herbal moment after another, right? So it's good to take a minute and reflect. And that's what we're going to do. What are we doing? How did we get here? How have the plants guided us? What would our lives be like if we hadn't said yes? How have the herbs and the plants been stepping stones in our lives? That's what we're going to work at. I have done this process with literally thousands of my students over the last 30 years. And this is a very powerful process. It's one thing to learn the medicine making techniques and to learn about the herbs and all the beautiful things at herbalism. But I'm a tracker, and I love to track how people feel, the movement, the renaissance, the reclamation that's happening right now. And so that's what these 5 days are about, is just taking you through a little snippet of a process that I do with most of my students. And I've been getting a lot of emails. This has brought up a lot for people. So it's very powerful. And if you haven't caught the first 4 days, those videos are live at IGTV, Cami McBride. They're live on my YouTube channel. And I really recommend going through those the first 4 days. It's a very powerful process. There's not really anywhere in their culture, very many places in most of our cultures, many of our culture, where we're honored or reflected, or where we even really talk about what this means. So we've been looking at how the plants guided us. Again, what would our lives be like if we hadn't said yes? And the herbs give us directives, whether you think that or not. And again, I've had some incredible conversations. I've gotten a lot of emails from people the last few days who a couple people said they've been working with herbs for 30, 40 years, but this process was incredibly healing for them. So as far as being a home herbalist, a plant lover, there are a lot of directions in which you can go, right? There's a lot of choices right now. And so today's journal prompt and what we're going to be working on today is it's really about, what do you feel most inspired right now? What is your next step? What your today's self-reflection is, it's what is your deepest inspiration? Because like I said, there's a lot of things that we can do in studying herbs, but what the earth is calling for right now is your soul. It's calling for you to be embodied in your soul, and through you, who you are, to bring the voice of the plants to the table. The thing is that the herbs speak to us, the plants speak to us through emotion, through our senses. And the thing is it's kind of like, have you ever, like when you sing, how everybody sings, but everybody sounds different because everybody's chamber and bones and face structure. And so how the sound comes through is incredibly unique to every single person. And it's the same thing with herbalism and herbal medicine, and this very powerful awakening that's happening of the plant people, and how the voice of the earth comes through you and how your senses perceive it is unique to you, because you have this incredible vessel of senses, right? And since the plants communicate and reach to us through our senses, their voice is going to come through you in a unique way. And so the more embodied and more grounded you are in your herbal studies, the more you will be able to hear that voice that is so needed right now, and that is unique, that your way of manifesting the beauty for you of manifesting this is yours. So again, today's journal prompt is currently, what is your deepest inspiration? And that may seem like just a simple question, but I'm going to ask you to sleep on it. I'm going to not, it'd be good if some things come up right now, but I'm going to ask you to sleep on that and to really think about what's your biggest inspiration when it comes to your herbalism. And it's been so great to be with you these past 4 days. You can go back and check the journal and self reflective prompts in the past 4 days at Cami McBride at the YouTube channel, IGTV. And it's been so amazing to read your comments. But go ahead and grab your journal again today, or even if you're just starting out with this today. And I want you to encourage you to take some time to write, what is your next step in your home herbalism, your herbal studies, your herbal gardening? And I'm not talking about a pressurized next step like, oh, I got to learn this, I got to do this, I got to know that, I got to know how to take care of my kids, or whatever the latest shiny new herbal whatever is, right? I'm talking about asking yourself that question from a place of deep contemplation with the 4 prompts that we did in the last 4 days in mind. So the last 4 days that we've done, it's really been about taking you deeper into your process, a more embodied place of your herbal studies, and then contemplating your continuum, right? That started when you were, this high, and learning how to go back and really understand that continuum. And then what is your next step from there, from really the contemplation that we've done, and the step that you would take now, that you would have tunnel vision back to 10 years from now, like we talked about that I think 2 days ago. Which part of your herbal journey has tunnel vision, like it's like, wow, that was just a transition time, a life-shattering transformational time in relation to how you work with the plants. Okay. And so, and it's really about following your heart and your passion. And that almost seems kind of cliche to say that, it's like follow your heart. But no, I mean, what in your work with the plants and the herbs really hits you right here, right? Okay. So yeah, so we've talked about our chapters, when you were first called and felt most pulled by the plants, your plant allies. I think 2 days ago we worked on plant allies, and then the themes, the through line, what carries you, what drives you. And if you laid everything out in chapters of your herbal plant path, this is about tracking your plant path, right? What do you see next? Is there anything else you want to learn? It could be specific or general. What is the next step in that journey? Could be you want to learn deeper medicine making, gardening, more direct plant communication skills. But see, it's not just about the next thing, it's about your next thing. It's about what is calling you. See, I know you've heard me talk about how when I started, there were 3 books and I had to travel all over the country finding elder teachers. I had to go live in all different states for years to find the different teachers. And it was really, it was a lot. But now the problem is there's overwhelm. It's like there's so many choices, right? And so what is your next thing? What is it that wells up in your heart? Okay. What is it that wells up in your heart, regardless? So when I started studying in the 1980s, my parents and my grandparents were like, what are you doing? We sent you to college. You're crazy. My dad didn't talk to me for months. My mom, she was totally supportive, but she was like, hey, Cami, you're really good with kids. So why don't you get a grade school teaching credential, and just so you can have some backup? Right? So you can have something to fall back on. But it was such a welling up in my heart that the plants were so magnificent to me that I was pulled, and I didn't even hear all those voices. I really had to work through a lot of cultural barbed wire, but the calling was so strong. And I see that right now. The calling is very strong. And so again, there's lots of option now, but what is your option? And that's why it's good to go back to, I think, the second day, and really, what is it that is driving you, and what's pulling you, and what is it that where you feel in the flow, in the zone, just like where I say where time stops. Okay. And it's all really about being more embodied. If we just approach this whole thing from like learning from, intellect is great, but if that's the only way we approach our herbalism, we're going to end up in the same same mess that we're in already, right? And this is really about finding what your soul calling is with the earth in this awakening of so many plant people that are changing our culture. We we are changing the culture. We are evolving our culture forward. So it's really important for us to stay connected with what's true to our heart. And we're changing the way we take care of each other, the way we take care of ourselves, and the way we take care of the earth. And so I do hope that, I mean, I'm here to support you, to be part of in my book. The Herbal Kitchen's got 260 herbal recipes, my herbal oil teachings, my free tips and recipes and tutorials that are kind of endless at CamiMcBride.com. And you could get on my newsletter at CamiMcBride.com, and you can get on your, I send stuff out in every week, recipes, seasonal tips. But this is a journal series that we've been working through together here in this group. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. I have been amazed at the stories and the things that you've been talking about. And, we're working on uncovering just how much the plants actually give us and direct our life, even if we don't realize it. So we're taking these 5 days, 10, 15 minutes to honor and really observe the continuum of our relationship with the plants and how nurturing it is. And I hope that by doing this, that you can feel the deeper pulse of your life's continuum of being related and connected to the earth. And that is really our who we are as humans, our capacity. And so again, we've gone through the chapters, the highs, the lows, the challenges, the influences, the turning points, when we felt most present, our plant allies, the themes, how this has shaped your life over and over again. And today's prompt is, what do you feel most inspired by today that is forming your next step? What is it that you're going to look back 10 years from now and go, wow, that was my heart pulling me forward. And so if you're on Instagram, when this goes up after I'm done live, I would love to hear. And so today, what do you see as being next in continuing on this path that you've been on, right? What is it? And so in a couple minutes, I'm going to get into the chat and see what everybody's saying. Um, and again, it could be really specific or general. Um, Sometimes it's like, I want to learn this, and sometimes I want to master that. And sometimes the next step is honestly just taking a little break and stepping back and saying, you know what? I'm just going to hang out with my herbal kitchen or my herbal garden, and I'm going to just do what I'm already doing that I love. It doesn't have to be something new. I mean, for me, sometimes for me, learning is just doing over and over what I already do. My husband and I, we share cooking dinner, and when I'm inspired, I cook more dinners, and I just go for it with my herbal kitchen. I mean, what is the most herbified I can make a meal? That's where I'm in my zone, in my flow, in my joy. I love that's why I just wrote the pesto for all seasons, because it's an ebook on Amazon. Because for me, uh, making pesto, rocking out the nutrition of pesto and the enzymes that are in pesto for most meals, it's very satisfying for me. That's a really satisfying form of herbalism, is nourishing myself and others with green. Like, that is my zone, right? And so what's your zone? And I talked about some of my other through lines yesterday that really kept calling me, and why I started teaching herbal medicine in 1988 and have never looked back. And um, so what we've done here in these past 5 days is to kind of spark for you, realize, remember more of your earlier memories, right? And access your continuum on a deeper level, right? Where you just like, this is like touching into the soul of your herbalism. And so how this touching in that we've done in the past 4 days of tracking your plant path, um, how does that feed you and nourish you? And how is it going to help support you in how you go forward, right? And just really embodying that, right? You want to get better at your medicine making. You want to deepen your plant communication. I'm going to be doing my plant wisdom, activate your plant communication skills course in March. It's really powerful. And you can send me a message if you're interested. I can let you know when that opens. But take a minute. What has nourished you the most? Right? As we've looked at the chapters, your plant allies, where have the plants taken you that you would not have gone? I mean, you can spend days on that. And what does integrating all of this bring up for you? How can you continue? Right? So make sure you leave me a comment if after IG goes post this live. I really want to hear what sparked for you. And so again, today's prompt is, what do you feel most inspired by today that is forming your next step? Okay, so Bronwyn Troutman says, I'm getting ready to open a magical apothecary with my sister this year. It's been a 30-year journey with herbs. And yes, the world has changed. Yeah, so starting to, I'm all about support your local medicine maker, support the medicine makers. And it's great to support our local apothecary. So sleep on these prompts of these last 5 days, journal. This process can unwind over time, and you're listening for the directive of the plants. Okay, and so we've talked about what brings the most emotion. Again, plants speak to us through emotion. I wasn't taught that. You probably weren't taught that, but it's true. It is true. And so this is about not only learning herbalism, but tracking your emotions along the way, right? So the feeling, what do you feel most like, drop to your knees inspired by? What is it that's really forming your next step? And that's what I wanted to share with you in these 5 days. So I'm just looking in the comments. Let's see. Hi, Kira. Aw. So Chalet Pashuta says, while gardening, that happened to me, how the soil earth is like a woman's womb, and the seed we plant needs to be optimal as the soil and its environment to be nurtured to further provide nutrients for future generations. Yeah, that's beautiful. Says, I so love watching your videos. I love learning with you. I feel so grounded after connecting with your lessons. Thank you for all the foundational work you've done for us. Yeah, this is it's like, I got to download this recipe. I got to do this materia medica. I got to, read this, read this, read this. And at some point, who are you in all of this? What is your calling? And then you really start to discover your reciprocal relationship with the earth. So it says, I just found chickweed in my garden in the desert. I'm so excited. Yay! Amanda says she likes to, what really she loves is making fire cider every fall. Yeah, that's the other thing the plants do. They turn the seasons for us, right? Nancy says, I've learned how amazing the plants react to us. They certainly react to our love and care for them. I constantly talk to them now, and wow, they certainly grow better. And Cami, you have inspired me so much, sending you love and gratitude. Yeah, the plants respond to love. If you go to my blog at CamiMcBride.com and type in oak tree, last year, I think it was about year and a half ago, the oaks gave me a really profound message about how they just want the humans to start loving them again. Like, where did the humans go? Why are the humans not singing to us and caring for us? Like, we just want you guys to love us again. It's very profound. Stephanie says, I do imagine in my mind having planted beautiful flowering medicinal plants. I have begun this process. Of course, it is a big endeavor. Yes, Stephanie, one thing at a time, one passionate moment at a time, one plant at a time. Mildred says, next step, get better in medicine making, including my herbs in my meals and raising plants in my house. I would like to do some wildcrafting. Yeah, you never get bored with your herbalism, that's for sure. Right. And so again, it's not like, what's my next step from like this? Again, the amount of what's available right now it's daunting, really, the amount of information and the videos, and to sift through and really find, a good teacher and reliable information. And And so it's like we did this on day two. It's like we can so easily just get swept up into that, right? And just feel like I should do this, I should do that, I should know this. And I told a story about how I even had that, right? I remember when probably about, I don't know, it's been about 12 years now that turmeric kind of hit the market. Like, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, nobody talked about turmeric. Nobody even knew what turmeric was unless you were raised with it in your culture or unless you were studying Ayurveda, right? It was like, yeah, nobody knew about turmeric. And all of a sudden, all my students started asking me about turmeric. What about turmeric? What about turmeric? And Michael Moore, he didn't teach us about turmeric. And even Dr. Ladd didn't really talk about turmeric that much. So I didn't develop it as one of my allies. But I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's talking about turmeric. I got to learn about turmeric. And I like turmeric, but it's not one of my allies. It's not one of these plants. I mean, it's amazing, right? But it's not one of the plants that called my soul. But I was like, well, everybody knows about it. I got to know about it. And so I've dealt with that too. Just like, I got to know it all. I got to know what everybody knows. But now it's like, I don't do that. I started out learning herbs. I started out with a materia medica of 400 plants, and now I'm down to about 40 to 60. And really in my daily life, it's like 30. So it's like it doesn't. And one of my teachers that came and taught with me in the early 1990s, Miss Beatrice Waite, she talked about using 3 plants mostly for everything, right? So find, I think day 3, we did that prompt. Go back to the video on day 3, find your herbal allies. Find the plants that you can fall in love with, like a relationship, right? Not like a relationship, like a human relationship, right? It's just like having human relationships. Who can you make offerings to? Who can you plant? Who can you find out what they need, what they want, how to work with them in a deeper way, right? So yeah, so that's the prompt for today. That's the end of this 5-day series, and I just, this again, this work percolates, and if you just write down each one of these 5-day prompts, things are going to come to you. You're telling your brain that you're thinking about things differently, and you're going to start to have a little bit more, not that you don't already have, not that the plants aren't already talking to you, but it's like really about tapping into what is your soul's journey with the plants. um, Carol says the plants led me to you. Thanks for the inspiration, encouragement. Let's see, there's a comment, doesn't say who it is. It says, making an herbal oil to me is like painting. I just fall in love with the process every time. I'm most inspired to create medicine with plants, but also to create art with the plants, to use them for ritual and ceremony, to honor them. The plants bring me back to my body and remind me how great it is to be alive. That is so true. I love crafting. Also on my blog, I have, if you put in craft at Cami McBride on my blog search bar, I have a whole herbal crafting portal where we do herbal wreaths and herbal, all kinds of crafts, herbal hearts. Yeah, all kinds of things. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, making herbal oil to me is like painting. It's true. It's true. The oils are so incredible. They are, the colors, how many things they can be used for. Yeah, in the summer, I open up my course, Handcrafted Healing Herbal Oils. I've been teaching herbal oil making for 30 years, and that's a really powerful process too. So yeah, okay, so I just recommend that you go back through the previous days you haven't done this, and if you want to leave a comment wherever you're at, if you're on YouTube, where I'm on three places right now, and so again, after all the work that we've done to kind of just take us deeper into the soul of who we are with our herbal studies, what is the inspiration that's really forming your next step? Okay. Not a pressurized next step, but a step that wells up inside. Okay. Okay. Thanks for being with me. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and take care.